Am I live on anything? Alright. Well, that shouldn't say that. Switch accounts, how do I switch accounts on mobile? Switch accounts. Liberal click. Okay. You currently live, I should be. Your videos, your movies. Live. Do. Alright, fantastic. Settings. More about infos. Why is this so hard to manage? Infos. Why is this so hard to manage? Discord if there's everyone.
We came and we did.
It just got bigger? Good gracious. Stream nonsense here. Everyone. Oh, it's here right now.
You can, it's up to you.
DM me on Discord. Text. I'll put this in Discord over here. Selfies, media share, main chat, Clash of Minds, gaming, polling, 2 cents, audio sample, research, selfies, user art, memes, trending media, Clash of Minds, welcome, streams. Where's Stuff Burma? Oh, right. I am currently at a Trump rally. I'm trying to get in. This is the line. I'm on the other side of the street because we couldn't all fit on the block. There's so many people here. I don't even know if I'm going to get in, to be honest. Oh, sorry, excuse me. If you don't want to be filmed, I won't film you. Talk to some of these people, but I'm kind of shy. IRL. Yeah. If you want, we can chat about politics a little bit for my live stream.
As long as we don't get into the
We don't have to do anything you're not comfortable with.
chat.
All right. Do you mind if I put you on camera?
Pardon?
Do you mind if I put you on camera? All right.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, sir. I am. All right. So I am here with somebody who I am assuming is a Trump supporter, correct?
I absolutely am.
Most politicians.
I do, and you know does it.
Okay. What about like national issues? What is
To some degree, it's okay, but you know we need so much here at home, and we want to work on the border. That's a big issue. I have no problem with immigration as long as you come legally.
Okay.
You know, if you come legally, open the door and welcome you.
Okay. Would you be open to more of a policy of letting more people in legally, and expediting the process to get in legally? You know, background checks and stuff is obvious, but trying to fix the situation where people are waiting 5-10 years to get in legally.
Yes, that would be nice.
Okay, fantastic. That's something you and I agree on.
Good.
Let's see, what else is there? What is it that? What do you think that Trump is going to do with illegal immigration? Like specific. Well, you said you didn't want to get into specifics. Never mind.
Yeah, no.
Okay. Well, I do appreciate your time.
Please vote for Donald Trump.
Yeah, there you go.
24.
Vote for Donald Trump 2024. Fantastic. Yes.
Why most everybody people on this line is white? Like 99.9% of these people is white on this line.
I don't know. I guess you'd have to ask the people who are colored that's not supporting Trump.
The line is back here.
Okay, yeah, go to the end of the line. That's fine. Let's do so. Thank you so much.
Well, I don't think he's in line to get in the. I think he's trying to talk to me, right? Are you?
Yeah, of course. I'm unable. I live right here. I live one block away. Hi, my name is Omar.
Oh, hi, Omar. It's nice to meet you. So you asked me a question. What was it?
Like, why most everybody on this line is white?
I mean, I think demographically, the Republican Party tends to have more larger.
White evangelicals. Like
I
how?
can answer that question. My father is from Guatemala, and he came here legally, 100% legally. He did not break into this country. My mother-in-law is from Portugal. She came here legally, 100% legally.
That doesn't answer my question, darling.
Does. I am Hispanic.
Right, well, it's a very big discussion. I was born in this country. I'm from Colombia. It's a very big discussion, but you don't have to get aggressive to
with
me.
that thick accent?
Wait, could you repeat that?
You were born here with that thick accent?
Doesn't matter. My accent doesn't mean a thing, darling.
It actually does, and I'm not your darling. It actually does mean a thing. My father came here when he was 33 years old, and he still has his accent. If you're born in the United States, you don't have your accent. I know that because I'm born into a family that is all Hispanic.
Well, I say, I love you and I respect you.
You don't love me because you don't.
I love you because I don't know you. Exactly. That's the reason that I love you, because I don't know you, and I respect you. So I hope you have a blessed day, my dear.
You too.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, I was born in Portugal. And I came here legally with my parents. My parents came here legally, and I love this country, and I love Trump. And Trump is the only one to keep this country going, keeping it safe.
You don't think there's anybody else out there that could do that job?
No way.
Not even on the Republican side?
No, and I think the first election with Biden last year, that was all fixed. I don't believe Biden won legally. I think Trump won.
Wait, what have you seen that makes you suggest that? Makes you believe that?
No, Biden has barely nothing.
Okay. All right.
What channel you are working for?
I'm just a small-time live streamer. I actually barely have any audience. My name is Liberal Cluck. Cluck, like a chicken that clucks. Yes.
You are liberal.
Huh?
You are liberal?
Am I liberal? I would consider myself non-affiliated. I don't really support either the Democrats or Republican parties wholeheartedly.
You're independent.
Yes, independent, yes.
But you don't like Donald Trump.
Do I like Donald Trump? Oh no, sir, I do not really like Donald
You
Trump.
see that? It's wrong because we have right now a piece of shit in there in the house, in the White House.
You think so? Why do you say that?
Piece of shit.
Okay.
Yeah. In the White House we have nothing good.
Nothing good in the White House? Okay.
About that man's comment about 99% being white.
How in the world somebody
And
can be
if he
lying
says
so
he's
much?
Catholic and he's for abortion, then he's lying. So he needs to check his religion.
Okay.
As far as his comment about why is 99% of the people here white, well, this is open to anyone of color, race, religion. Anybody can come, not just white people, not just Caucasians, so come on down.
So,
More in this country than people that come through the border.
I got it for Jesus.
That's the reason why. They are loving this country much better.
Sure, maybe a little weary about that, but I don't know why they don't get more involved, truthfully. I don't have the solution for that.
okay, fantastic. Thank you. Thank you both.
Yes, sir.
And you.
What's your blog?
Blog? I don't have a blog. The YouTube channel is
channel?
called
Yeah.
Liberal Cluck, with a C.
Okay.
It's a play off of people calling liberals cucks online. Yeah.
That's funny. Are you from here? From Richmond?
Yeah, I have actually, well, not from Richmond, but I've actually got friends that live here. I live in Charlottesville and lived in Louisa for a while.
Okay.
What about you?
Yeah, I'm born and raised here.
Do you mind if I put you on camera?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, so did you want to state your name or
Yeah, my name's BJ.
BJ? Okay, and you're here to support Trump, correct?
Yeah, I'm here to see the rally. I want to see how everything's being composed.
Okay. Did you vote in the last election?
I did not vote for the last in the last election. No, I did not.
Were you old enough to vote?
Yes, I was.
So why didn't you vote?
I'm in my third. I was kind of at a standstill about who exactly I was supporting. There were issues that I agreed with, more so leaning towards the right, but I will call myself more, in the middle, more moderate.
Okay.
I see strong positions on either end, but one of the things I disagree with is the heightened level of polarity in this country. I mean, just the divisive nature of everything that's going on right now.
Yeah.
I mean, it can be scary. We need a unifier.
Yeah.
We'll see if Trump is that unifier. There are policies that I agree with and will contend with him on, as far as border patrol, as far the geopolitical tensions that are happening. We need somebody to regulate that, someone who is strong. The presence of strong leadership is important in this country, especially as it determines, our autonomous place in the world, especially being our first place.
Yeah.
So we'll just have to see. I want to see what Trump is going to say to this crowd, in Richmond.
Okay. So you said that there are things you agree and disagree with Trump on. Could you give me one thing that you strongly agree with Trump on?
I agree with Trump as it concerns our presence geopolitically, around the world, globally. We need to have China and Russia in control, especially with things that you see going on. We have drones being flown in the United States from other countries. We have cyber attacks. We have all sorts of different things that are happening in this country. And so we're at a critical time right now. Biden hasn't expounded on a lot of these issues, which sadly, so we'll just see what happens.
All right, and what is the one thing that you strongly disagree with Trump on?
Many times, especially in his last presidency, I believe that he has the ability to be a unifier. However, sometimes his rhetoric gets the best of him. Sometimes the impulsive nature gets the best of him. I believe that if he phrased things better, if he worded things better, if he had more concern about how he phrased things, then his message would get across a little bit better.
Yeah, one example that I can think of that is when he was talking about other countries having to pay 2% of their GDP to their self-defense in order for the UN in order to be members of the UN. He said if they don't pay, I don't care if Russia invades. What do you think about that?
I believe that sets a bad precedent and it's bad rhetoric.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Is there anything else you'd like to say?
What I want to say, we need, as a country, we need to be unified.
Yeah.
We need leadership that can articulate that, something that can bring everybody together.
Okay.
Because with everything that's happening around the world, we already have a lot against us. There's a lot of antagonism towards this country, and we don't need that internally. We don't need to implode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was watching a video and they were talking about how more people are registering as independents because they don't necessarily believe in one side or the other. But the people who are still registered are like diehards.
Yeah.
What do you think of that?
I have noticed that there is an increase in people who want to, vote down the middle. There's people. So what that showcases is that there are people who do agree with both sides, but if more people are registering as independents, that means, some aisle of the party, is losing some form of support. In pre-registrations, you see more black people voting. You see more people of color who are voting towards, not specifically towards Democrat, but towards independent and towards conservative. You see more of a push about conservative values being, allowed on different platforms, as opposed to, what was going on a few years ago. So we also see the more uprising of specific personalities willing to articulate conservative values. And I think that deep down, a lot of people do agree with that. They agree with the concept of family. They agree with certain conventional ideas as it, concerns biology. Most people agree with that. People who agree with the opposite end are about 5%.
It depends on which issue you're talking about.
Yeah. But what I was referring to was gender ideology.
Yeah. So the last time I did research on this, it was just under 50% that actually broadly supports trans rights. But that's going to all depend on how you word the question. If you word it specifically, do you think that?
Support in people who identify and use these, and who identify with some of the extreme nature of it. I mean, there's a polarity with that.
Yeah, like if you talk about something like surgery for kids, then a lot less people are going to be supportive.
Significantly.
Yeah, but if you talk about,
I would say that most people would agree with just autonomy as a whole.
Yeah. So we were talking back there about why there aren't as many people of color supporting the right. Do you have any opinions on that?
Yeah, I mean, he pointed out, people in this line. in this line. So I think that traditionally, black people since the 60s, the majority have voted for the left. Yeah, and much to their own problems. So much to their own demise, I would say. But it seems to be changing. That you have more and more people of color who are vocal about conservative values as a whole. I would say, in my own experience, there are concerns that people have who look like me. As far as, when they look at the TV and they see the right being displayed in a certain way, and they see certain extreme things being said and done, that turns off people of color. But people who research some of the specifics and have an open mind, they seem to be able to articulate a little bit better.
So something that I've always said is that communities, minority communities, tend to actually be more socially conservative. Would you agree with that?
I would agree with that.
Okay. So it's really odd. It is odd that, like, just demographically by the numbers, more white people are voting for Republicans, and a lot more people of color, minority groups, are voting Democrats.
Yeah, it's been like that for a long time, but the number seems to be changing in some small circles.
Yeah.
Right. You know, right now, especially within that circle, within certain circles, especially deeper in the South, you'll see you'll see a lot of antagonization towards. Like, this way, like, going to my friends who I told them, I said, hey, I'm going to the Trump rally today. They say, hey, why are you going there? Even though they have socially conservative values, and some of them have attested that they'll be voting for him this year. They're like, oh, why are you going out here? So.
Wait, so people who were voting for Trump was asking you why you're going to a Trump rally?
Why am I going to a Trump rally? Yeah, because of all the things that you see on TV about it. People use certain craziest things that happen at, some of these rallies or rallies that have happened in the past. But from what I've seen here, I haven't seen anything extreme, just people willing to get in, wanting to get in.
Yeah, that's true. I think that people see things on TV and they think that that's the whole.
Yeah.
It happens on the left and the right. Like, if you look at January 6th.
It happens on each side.
Yeah. People think that all Trump rallies are like shit. January 6th. You look at BLM. People think all BLM riots were like Kenosha.
Yeah, and I attended that because I wanted to see what it was going to be about. And the one out here, for an example, and it turned into a big mess. So anytime you have a lot of people who are incensed, and then you have a charismatic personality that can kind of lead things astray, then anything can happen.
Yeah, I agree.
But everybody's been very nice here.
Yeah, I think I've heard that before about Trump rallies. I had a friend that came to one of these, and she's apolitical. She was just curious.
Yeah.
She was like, everybody's so nice to me here. Well, it's so nice to me here.
Yeah. But as I was saying earlier, I do believe that I do believe that we need to have strong leadership. We're the leader in the West, and we need to avoid wars.
What do you think about funding Ukraine?
In the beginning, it seemed to have served the purpose, but right now, I mean, Ukraine is losing the war according to most experts. So if we continue to fund Ukraine, and we continue to take away the resources that we have here and give it to another country, I mean, it's just going to end up problematic for us. I mean, right now we have a situation where the dollar is under pressure. A lot of people are investing in alternative currencies, and it hurts us as a country.
Okay. Do you think that if we continued to fund Ukraine throughout the months that we haven't, they would have stood a better chance?
Well, we would have to see. I believe that everything that occurred with Ukraine in the first place could have been avoided. It could have been avoided. I think that people undermine the fact that the invasion of Ukraine happened at the time that it did. For an example, we had what was going on in extraditing our resources from the Middle East, for an example, our personnel, everything that was going on in Afghanistan, and then with that gap that we left there, we left a situation that was worse than before. And so that seemed to be the opportune time for Putin to go and then invade Ukraine. So everything happened within reason. Everything happened methodically and strategically. And I believe that Putin at that time, he believed that we were weak and that we weren't going to respond and we weren't going to do the things that we did. But even then, it seems, even now, you can look at how Putin has recovered with his sanctions. And so all American businesses were forced to pull out of Ukraine, lose money by pulling out of Ukraine, and pulling out of Russia, and the businesses that we had in Russia. And then as a result of that, all Russia did was, hey, they have these sanctions, but all Russia did was build internally. And now, now they're strong, and now Ukraine is actually losing the war, and Russia's economy is getting better. So that's a problem. So all of the sanctions and everything that we've done seems to have been to little avail, especially when we look at what we thought they were going to do in the first place.
Okay. Russia's economy has gotten better.
It has, because they've been able to build internally. They've been able to rely less on support from outside nations and been able to rely on their own resources. This is something that we need to do as this country. We need to stop relying on exclusively on support from other countries and build internally. For an example, we have the oil and gas pipeline. And instead of relying on oil from other nations and resources from other nations, we need to cheapen that and use the oil reserves that we have here. Eventually, it will be more cost effective, it'll provide more jobs, and it'll just help us substantially and abundantly as a country.
Okay, how do we do that? Are we going to stop letting our oil companies trade with other countries?
I wouldn't say the complete cessation of that. Not at all. But if we relied more on our oil reserves, it'll be able to have all of the benefits that I stated previously. It'll help with jobs. It will help with our overall intellectual capacity.
So if an oil company has 1 million barrels of oil and they want to trade it to us who are buying it for cheap because we want to rely on our own supply, or they want to trade it.
Right, and again, it doesn't have to be that way. And again, I'm not suggesting that, I'm not suggesting the complete cessation of our partnerships with other nations. Not in the least. But what I am saying is if we relied more on what we have internally, it'll help with situations. Okay. We had, for an example, when it came to that, we had a relationship with Russia when it came to their oil reserves. I mean, even right now, their platinum reserves are what we were relying on. You saw the price of platinum due to this supply crunch in 2022 when the Russia and Ukraine war initially happened. The price of platinum and palladium especially, went to over $3,000 an ounce because of that. Mm-hmm. So those are the things that are necessary in our cars, our vehicles. Yeah. They all go into catalytic converters. Yeah. And so it just makes things more expensive. But if we weren't relying on buying our platinum and palladium from Russia, from other partnerships in some other nations, like our partnership with South Africa, as opposed to getting most of our platinum and palladium from Russia, then we wouldn't have had the problem where auto manufacturers based here in the United States had to pay over $3,000 an ounce for their palladium, making car prices go up. And right now we're in a crisis with that.
Do we have platinum? Do we have platinum and palladium reserves? I have no idea.
Well, most of our platinum and palladium reserves came from Russia and came from South Africa.
So does America have any?
South Africa has more.
Like, do we have any to be dug up in America?
It's not as much. Okay. It's not as much as those other nations.
Okay.
But there's more in South Africa than there is in Russia.
Okay. Well, I do appreciate your time. I was going to see if this gentleman wanted to talk because he was looking at us.
We were for a long time.
Yeah, you did a great job.
Thank you.
So I'm not going to lie to you. I don't know how this is going to turn out. This is the first time I've ever done this.
Yeah, you
did
a good job.
With this equipment, it might be capturing all the background noise more than it is you and I. So I had no idea.
Hey, you did a good job, man.
But we'll figure it out.
All right.
Sir, did you want to say something? You were looking at us? No? Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to give my battery a break then. What was that? Yeah. I want to capture some of the battery if I can. So I I am going to sign off for a little bit. I will sign back on if and when I get back inside. And
There are a lot of people of color.
oh yeah,
There are a lot. You might not see them here, but you see them at the polls. You see them in the results when it comes to voting. You will see that.
do you know what the results were for 2020 when it comes to people of color versus Democrats versus Republicans?
I don't know the exact number, but there was an increase from 2016
Oh yeah,
in
okay.
2020.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I think what that is, like you said earlier, back in the 60s,
Yeah.
civil rights, Democrats were the ones that ultimately signed that.
Yeah.
And now we've got younger generations that grew up that know, they know about it, but they weren't affected by it
Right.
in the way that they understand.
Yeah, absolutely. Right now, the Democratic Party and African American culture are in a dire straits because there are demands that African Americans want, and they feel that they have been cheated on. And a lot of them, you see it. You see it right now. You see it at the highest forms of media. You see black people like your Ice Cubes, like your Snoop Dogs, like your Charlemagne the Gods, black influencers who are questioning the Democratic Party, and this is rhetoric that you haven't heard.
What are the
60 years.
What are the specifics on what they're questioning?
Well, they're questioning a lot of different things. For an example, they're questioning some of the promises that the left has been making as far as funding when it comes to HBCUs and other black issues. Every election, you see a major Democratic candidate flirting, especially lately, flirting with this idea of reparations. They throw the word around and they get black people to come and vote in support of that. And black people would rather you not use it at all than use it and not do anything about it.
Do you support more funding for historically black universities and reparations?
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. Of course, I wouldn't mind it, but everything has to be done with justification. Everything has to be done with justification. But yeah, sure.
Okay. You want to know something that I have a community of mostly conservatives that I debate all the time.
Yeah.
One thing, this came up during the COVID, where they were giving special passes, making your color of your skin in the front of the line because black people were more susceptible to dying to COVID. However, that's probably in my opinion, was probably more of a result of poverty.
Right. So what do you think about the idea of what's happening with migrants being granted special privileges and being granted special things when they come over here, even if they come over here illegally? I think a lot of people, I've heard some people mention this in the line. What do you think about that idea? Because that seems to be some aspect, some form of a reparative mechanism.
So here's the thing about when migrants come over. They come over whether it be through the ports of entry, like they're supposed to, or between the ports of entry. Most of the time when they come between the ports of entry,
because you hear a lot of things about them being granted credit cards up to $10,000.
Yeah.
Is that a thing?
I think there are some localities that are giving money to migrants.
Do you know which ones?
You mean like legal versus illegal?
Oh, which localities?
I heard about it in New York just on the way up here. I haven't done any official research, so I'm not going to wholeheartedly stick to my statements of facts here. But I've heard.
Because I've been hearing a lot of that data coming from out of New York. So that seems to be some aspect of a reparative measure, and black people about this, and they have a lot of questions. And they don't like it because the idea is if somebody can come over here from another country and get a $10,000 credit card, as opposed to somebody who's over here who's struggling, especially a minority, they have a lot of questions about that. So they have a lot of problems with it.
So I don't look at it as so much reparations as it welfare.
A reparative measure, because even with welfare, you don't get a $10,000 credit card, or a hotel, or something like that. So I've been hearing, some of those things. I know, things are different with different localities, but it seems as though what's happening in New York seems to be one of the most extreme aspects of it. New York and maybe perhaps California.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard 1,500, not 10,000. But I mean,
I've heard 10,000. Yeah, 10,000.
Like I said, I honestly don't know. The situation
with welfare, a lot of people here are, on welfare, not just blacks.
Of course, for sure. That was just a stereotype actually pushed by Republicans in the past. That probably contributes to why more black people or Democrats today.
I think it has a lot to do with the inculcation of certain messages within culture. But in some black circles, for example, they won't even allow you to say the name, Donald Trump's name in the household. I remember that. That was an extreme thing in 2016. It was this idea that he was some unapologetic racist. Yeah. So, but now people are beginning to open up and actually listen to what he's saying. I see that to be a thing.
My last little bit on the migrants is that when you have migrants coming over, whether it's through the port of entry or in between the ports of entry, they usually seek out Border Patrol in order to get processed. Because their ultimate goal is to get citizenship either through the migrant process or usually. So they come here, they don't have a job, I think they're not allowed to work for like 120 days. So somebody's got to feed them, somebody's got to...
They receive financial, so they do receive financial support. So what do you think is actually going on in order to separate those who with meaningful and positive intentions as opposed to somebody who's coming in this country to try to seek out, because it can be, with everything that's happening politically, and you have the transportation of mass amounts of fentanyl coming across the border and getting into this country. They're coming over here through different measures. So I'm not saying that everything is occurring exclusively because we have a loose policy across the border, but a lot of it is being, according to, there's a consensus in most data that a lot of these illicit drugs, especially the most dangerous drugs like fentanyl, is passing over here through the border.
Yeah, did you by any chance look up whether or not it's coming through illegal ports of entry or legal ports of entry?
I believe there's been both.
So the numbers that I've seen is the mass majority, like in the 90%.
But it's been both. So what research have you seen to say that?
Oh goodness, I can't do it off the top of my head.
Because a lot of the Pew data was about illicit immigration. Because these drugs are, especially as they are in the raw form. I mean, that is illicit. Like, where is the regulatory procedure to show? Where's the regulatory procedure to determine?
I mean, my understanding is that it usually comes from people who are allowed to be here, either like truckers going back and forth between the border or American citizens coming from Mexico to here through the legal ports of entry. This isn't like there's a little bit that does come over the. I actually talked to a Border Patrol agent last year. He had applied to where I work, and I was training him. And he said that there are migrants who come through here with drugs, and they do it because their family's being held hostage or whatever.
How are they allowed to enter into this country with drugs?
They're usually kids being used.
There's a word for it. Can't think of it off the top of my head.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah, there's a word for it.
But the border situation is huge, and it's messy, and it's incredibly complicated.
But it's been huge and messy for quite a while.
Decades.
For decades.
You get all the way back to 2014 when we had the unaccompanied minor crisis.
Oh yeah. Even before then, even under the Obama administration, it was problematic. Would you say that things have gotten worse, or would you say that things have gotten better?
Well, I think that there are more people in these countries that are coming over that want to come over, so you're seeing a lot bigger numbers.
Yeah, you are seeing bigger numbers, and with that, because every interview I've seen with a Border Patrol agent. Now, I will say this, that it's quite natural for different biases, but every interview that I've seen with a Border Patrol agent has described the situation as disheveled and disorganized, and it needs to be a better protocol, especially right now with geopolitical, with tensions that are happening globally. I think that a lot of people simply don't feel safe, and they will gravitate to a candidate who is willing to articulate strongly and aggressively on those issues.
So, are you able to get into any specifics of what you would want to see done at the border?
I would like to see specifically more of a regulatory protocol. I mean, even you just said that kids coming over here trafficking drugs, whether it be on their personnel or literally within their bodies, there needs to be something that's happening.
Okay. So one of the things that Biden has actually done that not a lot of people know about is he has made it a rule that if you come in through the port of entry, you are not eligible for asylum for 5 years, period, end of story. Do you support that?
Yeah, there's some things that I support with that. Yeah, I would. But it is all about what is enforced. Is it something that's enforced, or is it something that's just being stated? In what ways have we seen it enforced? Because I would agree with something like that, but it's all about the enforcement of it.
Yeah, I think
execution of it.
I think one of the problems that we're having is that we don't have the personnel to enforce it as well as it needs to be, and one of the things that bipartisan immigration bill that passed
and even with because I'm aware of that, and even with that wasn't necessarily original to Joe Biden. I believe that other presidents have stated the same things concerning how they're going to regulate the borders. Is it something new that he's been saying? Because I know that his rhetoric has changed lately towards the border as time goes on, as we get closer to an election day.
It was
because he's been losing so much of his moderate supporters. Say that he has lost some of his moderate supporters. I mean, even then, even earlier in the conversation, you said that more and more people are beginning to vote independently.
Oh yeah, no, I would absolutely say that he's lost a lot of support. His approval ratings in the trash. There's no denying that.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I would say in his recent interviews, he has been, saying things about the border, and he has addressed some of these issues, but it's all rhetoric until things can get executed.
Yeah, I think that one of the problems with execution is that we have a personnel problem, but also the system that we have right now, if you come in and you claim asylum, you're still guaranteed a court date.
Yeah.
And those dates are usually way in the future because we don't have the judges for it.
Yeah, and I'll never forget the time, and this happened, not very long ago. I'm driving, and somebody crashes right into my car, almost totals the car. The guy, young man, he gets out of the car and he runs. Come to find out, he was illegal. They couldn't find his name. They couldn't find anything. So things like that are what most people, They want a regulatory procedure, and they want a leader who can articulate it.
One of the things that the bipartisan border patrol bill was going to address, that was going to address was if you are claiming asylum, they were going to have another regulatory body process those claims so that you're not waiting on a judge. You're waiting on you're waiting on.
It needs to happen just as much as, for an example, you have $80 billion being poured into the IRS, and they've been able to solve their personnel issue as a result of more funding going towards it. Just as that can happen with the IRS, this can happen with the border control.
100% agree.
Yeah. Is money being poured into it, or are we just making statements?
Well, they tried. The Republicans, blocked it.
It's bipartisan.
Well, yeah, it was bipartisan when they were coming up with it. But the story is now, I haven't seen like any hard first point evidence of this, but it also hasn't been denied, is that Trump actually called the Speaker of the House and told him not to support this bill.
What do you have to substantiate that?
Well, I don't have like the phone call, but
I'm just saying, but what do you have to substantiate that claim?
I could probably Google it right now.
But it's just a claim, correct?
So do you not?
I would agree with something like that, but to make the claim that Trump made this statement or made this phone call saying, to block it,
So
when he's not even like, because when did that allegedly happen?
I don't know off the top of my head, but like, just say
I'm just asking, when did it allegedly happen?
I don't know off the top of my head.
So but it happened during Biden's run as president.
It happened before the Senate voted on it.
Yeah, so it happened during Biden's run as president, correct?
Yes.
So Trump isn't even president.
Well, I understand that, but he's got huge influence in the Republican Party.
So if Trump is president, I mean, him making a phone call, what would that mean? And if he did make the phone call, especially with all of the controversies surrounding him and all of everything that's going on surrounding him, he's going back and forth recording and everything like that, that would have come out. So I think there's reasons to doubt that. Unless the audio, of course, can come out, then we will have to address it. But Trump isn't even president, so this idea that he's making phone calls, especially with him being one of the most scrutinized, the most scrutinized president in history, it's just difficult to attest to the exactitude of that statement.
So, hypothetically, if he would that be a thing that you would support him doing, or if he did do it? Would you support that decision of his, or would you be like, no, he should have let it go through?
I mean, it's not in his power if he isn't even president. But I would say that if he did have the power to make that, sort of decision, no, I wouldn't agree with that.
You wouldn't agree with him stopping it?
Yeah, no, I wouldn't agree with that.
Okay.
If he didn't have the power, but there's reasons, like we just discussed, to doubt the authenticity of that.
Okay, no, I'm with you on that.
I mean, would you say that?
I believe it, but I understand why you don't.
Yeah, because if Trump isn't the president and he's making phone calls like that, and he can affect what's happening in the government right now, with him being the most scrutinized president, it's something, especially something as controversial, as that. I believe that would have come out.
I mean, it has. That's how I know about it.
No,
you mean like the audio?
I'm referring to the actual audio in some sort of way to substantiate that claim. Because right now it's just a claim.
Possibly if it was recorded.
Yeah.
All right,
what is it recorded?
I mean, I'm at 65% right now, so I am going to stop the stream. But I do appreciate all your time and your the conversation. It was really good. Thank you.
Thanks, man.
Yep, no problem. All right, I'll be back when I get back inside after my phone charges a little bit. So keep an eye out.